So hello friends, today under the chapter thermometry we are going to see gas filled thermometers and bimetallic thermometers. So this is today's topic. Okay. And now we are going to consider the gas filled thermometers. So what they are and what is their principle that we are going to see. See here it is, last time we saw the different types of thermometers. Now here when we talk about gas filled thermometer, here basic thing is that the filling medium used is a gas in this case, and basically it is working on this principle that Boyle's law and Charles' law. According to Charles' law, see here it is, absolute temperature, absolute pressure of a gas varies directly with absolute temperature if volume remains constant. That means when we consider any container and in which the gas is filled, and if we are keeping, see we are keeping the volume constant, and if we increase the temperature of this body, then inside pressure will increase. So as temperature increases, so this is temperature increases, the pressure will increase, but the volume remains constant. This is basic principle of these kind of thermometers. So the relation between pressure at temperature T and pressure at 0 degree Celsius, it is given by this, that Pt is equal to P0 into 1 plus gamma of T, where Pt is pressure at temperature T which is being measured with the help of gas filled thermometer, and here the pressure of the gas inside the container or thermometer, so that is P0. Here it is 1 plus gamma T, where T is again a temperature which is being measured. So now we are talking about the construction of these gas filled thermometers. So here it is, you can see this is a hot body whose temperature is to be measured. Now here, there it is a bulb. Generally it is made up of stainless steel, brass, nickel. These kind of metals are used for the construction of this bulb. Now this bulb is inserted in the system where temperature is to be measured. So obviously heat will be transferred from hot body to the bulb. So here, there it is, this bulb contains the inert gas. So here inert gas is placed inside this bulb, and obviously the heat will be transferred from the system to the gas inside the bulb, and its temperature will increase. Similarly, here to bulb, a capillary tube is connected through which the gas can pass to this Bourdon tube. So here it is a capillary tube, and here this is a Bourdon tube. So capillary tube of various lengths are used in these thermometers. It depends on the application which we need it. So that can be as long as 70 meters also can be used. Again, when this capillary is used, generally the material used for capillary tube are like copper, steel, etc., and length is limited to up to say 70 meter, and later on this capillary is connected to the Bourdon tube. So Bourdon tube is actually used as a pressure sensing device. That means pressure sensing means basically when temperature increases, gas expands, so that gas exerts pressure and that goes to Bourdon tube. So here it is a arrangement, mechanical arrangement, so that gas will exert pressure on the piston connected to this Bourdon tube, and that will displace the piston, and that displacement of the piston causes the pointer to move on the scale. So this is basic idea of this. Now one important thing is that the thermometer bulb has a very small mass, and it must have a large area so that maximum heat can be transferred from system to bulb instantly so that it will give us timely response. And similarly, it must have small specific heat. That means when heat is taken from the system, it should not utilize a large amount of heat such that the temperature of system will decrease. So it should have a small specific heat and it must have high thermal conductivity. So these are the parameters of this bulb. So in short, that this gas filled thermometer is kept in the system. The bulb comes in contact with hot body which transfers heat from higher temperature to lower temperature. So the temperature of gas inside the bulb increases and that expands, and that is why the pressure is exerted through this tube. It goes on the piston connected to Bourdon tube, and this arrangement displaces the pointer on the scale. Basically this device is calibrated, so change in a temperature and corresponding deflection of the pointer is noted, it is calibrated, and thereafter the scale is designed. So here we saw that is Pt is equal to P0 into 1 plus gamma T, where Pt is pressure of at temperature T degrees Celsius, which is to be measured at that instant. P0 is pressure at 0 degrees Celsius, and here gamma is coefficient of pressure increase. That means whatever the change in the temperature, what is corresponding change in pressure, that coefficient of that particular gas is there. And thereafter here it is bulb and capillary or Bourdon tube contains inner gas. So the whole system right from bulb, this capillary and Bourdon tube, it contains the inner gas. The moment temperature changes, the gas inside the system expands and which exerts pressure on the piston, which forces the pointer to displace. So generally the nitrogen gas is used in this kind of system. The reason is nitrogen itself is a chemically inert gas. That is one most important benefit. Then favorable coefficient of expansion is there. So for application purpose, the coefficient of expansion nitrogen is quite favorable for getting reliable readings, and it has a temperature range from minus 200 degree Fahrenheit to 800 degree Fahrenheit. So it can measure the temperature between these two ranges. So for this purpose, with these the nitrogen gas is used. Now what are the advantages of using this gas filled thermometer? So here it has a very fast response. That means the moment temperature of the system changes, corresponding temperature is changed by the bulb and gas expands instantly, and it gives a very fast response as a displacement of the piston. Second, the scale is linear. That means linearly, if there is a change in temperature linearly, it increases. The same instant the pointer shows the deflection, or it decreases. Similarly, there it is a decrease in readings on the scale. So that is a linear scale. Third one is it has a rugged construction. Then satisfactory response time, sensitivity and accuracy. So using this, we have response time is very good, as well as sensitivity and accuracy of the gas filled thermometer, it is also good. So these are advantages, as well as it has a low cost and less maintenance. So these are advantages of this liquid filled thermometer. So apart from this, it also has some disadvantages. That is, for accuracy, it is necessary that the size of bulb should be very large, and if it is small, then it hampers the accuracy. So that is one disadvantage. Now in case of failure of entire system, so if any part of the system is failed, then we need to replace a complete system, or we have to change the complete system. That is again another advantage. Then limited maximum temperature. So that is one drawback, that we cannot use it for very high temperature. It has limitations. Then much lower accuracy and sensitivity and temperature span as compared to other types of thermometers we are using for measuring temperature. So these are the disadvantages of this kind of thermometer. Okay. So now bimetallic thermometers. So name itself it indicates that bimetallic, that means there are two metals used. Different metals are used for construction of this kind of thermometer. So when two metals are used, reason is simple, that every metal has different coefficient of expansion, and so two metals having different coefficient of expansions are used. So at same temperature their expansion will be different, and that particular parameter is used for measurement of temperature. So that is why it is called as a bimetallic thermometer, and coefficient of expansion of the metal plays important role in construction and working of this kind of thermometer. So here in these two metal strips of different coefficient of thermal expansion are bonded together. So they are bonded in such a fashion that, see here it is, I have shown this is one metal and this is another metal. So these are different metals, so their coefficient of expansion are different, and obviously they are bonded in such fashion that they are fixed, or they are completely in contact with one another and stick to one another. Now here there are two types of metals, that is passive element and active element, that we are going to see. Now whenever the temperature of this strip is at a particular temperature, or whatever temperature is there, so expansion rate of one metal is different than other, and that is why one metal expands less and other more, and as they are tightly bound or fixed, so the bending effect takes place, and that bending is actually gives us the change in temperature. So as temperature changes, how much bending of the metal takes place, accordingly we can calibrate the device to measure the temperature. So when temperature of assembly is changed, in absence of external force, it is important that whenever temperature is changed of the assembly and when there is no other external force is working on it, the bimetallic actuators will take a shape of an arc. So as we saw, it bends and forms an arc. So in this there are two different metals are used. So one of them is basically called as an active element. So active element is the metal having largest thermal expansivity. So that material is called as an active element, and active element is chosen with maximum thermal expansivity. So that for selection of this active metal, the thermal expansivity should be maximum, so that the change in temperature will cause a large expansion in that metal. So whereas another one is a passive element, so it is a metal with smaller coefficient of expansion, and it is because of there it is a large expansion in this material and small expansion in this material, so we can get a large bending and we can form a large angle of an arc. So generally iron nickel alloy, that is Invar, is used as a passive element. So here in case of, remember that passive element we need a smaller coefficient of expansivity, and generally iron and nickel alloy is used for this purpose, and it has almost zero thermal expansivity between 0.1 and 1 into 10 raised to minus 6 per Kelvin, depending on the composition of material. If you change the composition of material, so we can fine tune the expansivity of that particular material. So now this bimetallic effect nowadays is used in numerous applications ranging from domestic appliances to compensation in satellites and etc. So here when we talk about bimetallic strip or bimetallic thermometer, so basically the effect can be used in two ways. So either it can be used as an actuator, so it can be used an actuator, that is one thing, and second it can be used as a thermometer. So here it is, what is an actuator and thermometer effect that we are going to see. See, bimetallic actuator, when we talk about, it consists of like these two metal strips fixed together, and if they have different expansivity, then as temperature of the actuator, in case of actuator application, temperature of the actuator changes, one element will expand more. So here it is shown that, here it is the metal shown by red color, it has high expansivity, so it expands more, whereas the black one which is shown here, it expands less as compared to this, and that is why as both are fixed together, there it is a bending effect takes place, and that gives us the change in its plane due to change in temperature. Now this mechanical bending of the actuators can be used as an electromechanical switch or be a part of electric circuit itself, so that the contact of bimetallic device to an electrode cause a circuit to be made. And second one is, the same bimetallic strip can be used for temperature measuring device, that is a thermometer. So when we use it as a thermometer, remember that as the temperature changes, we know that the strip bends, and here it is, it can be used to determine the ambient temperature if the degree of bending can be measured. So whenever, see this is, let us consider the plane strip at 0 degrees Celsius, but as the temperature changes it bends, and by how much angle it is bent, if we measure it and if we calibrate it with the corresponding change in temperature, then that change can be used for measurement of temperature. And further, this bending also can be mechanically amplified if we need to produce a large change, and hence the displacement can be easily measured. So here a construction of bimetallic thermometer. So see, here it is, these are two metal strips, say this is metal A and metal B, having different coefficient of expansion, and they are fixed in such a fashion that one end is fixed and another end is free. Now when temperature of this metal will change, so due to different expansion coefficient, so it will bend. So as it bends, so here we can measure this angle, and that angle is basically proportional to the change in temperature, and the system of pointer and scale is arranged. So as it bends, it will be indicated by the scale, pointer and scale arrangement, and we can, after calibration, we can use it for measurement of temperature. So this is basic idea of bimetallic thermometer. So here we have that bimetallic strip in a form of cantilever in case of construction of bimetallic thermometer. Thereafter, here remember that whenever temperature changes, we get deflection, and that deflection is basically proportional to length of the strip. That is, a larger the length of strip, there will be a larger deflection, as well as deflection is proportional to variation in temperature. So there it is, a larger variation in temperature. Let us consider T1 is the initial temperature and T2 is the temperature being measured. So difference of T1 minus T2, if it is large, so there will be a large deflection, and deflection is inversely proportional to the thickness of the strip. So larger the thickness of the strip, here it is T by 2 is thickness of this and T by 2, so total thickness is T. So if this thickness increases, so deflection is inversely proportional to thickness of the strip. As these two metals are having different coefficient of thermal expansion, and as there is a change in temperature, let us consider T1 minus T2, then both metals bends. That means the variation in temperature causes expansion in the strip. That is one important thing. And as the expansion causes a strip to move in uniform circular arc. So strip bends and forms a arc of uniform circular arc. And now here we are showing that the radius of that circle, which is the arc is a part of that circle, that radius is r. So here we see that at this end the radius is r plus t by 2, and at center the radius we are considering r. Now here the radius which is formed, that is r, is actually given by formula, that is 2 times t divided by 6 into alpha a minus alpha b into T2 minus T1. So T2 minus T1 is actually change in temperature, and where T is, we know that is the thickness of the strip, that is alpha A and alpha B. These are thermal coefficient of expansion of say metal A and metal B, and T2 minus T1 is a change in temperature. So now here we see that it is a ratio. See, there it is expanded length of strip A. Here we have one strip, this is another strip, and here the radius is r, and here it is radius r plus t by 2. So r plus t by 2 upon r is equal to expanded length of strip A divided by expanded length of strip B. So that is given by L into 1 plus alpha A, that is a coefficient of expansion of metal A, into T2 minus T1, divided by L into 1 plus alpha B into T2 minus T1. Alpha B is coefficient of expansion of strip B. So now we have relation, that is we get R is equal to T upon 2 into 1 plus alpha B into T2 minus T1 divided by 2 times alpha A minus alpha B into T2 minus T1. So here we see that this is coefficient of expansion of one strip and this is of another strip. So if here we consider one of the metal has a very small temperature coefficient, so let us consider alpha B is very small, then this term becomes negligible. So we get R is equal to T upon 2 into alpha A into T2 minus T1. And now this relation, from this relation it is clear that if one end of the strip is fixed and if there it is a change in temperature, then the corresponding change or corresponding displacement is shown by this relation. See, applications of bimetallic thermometers. Normally this thermometer is used in various fields. So in household appliances it is used in air conditioners, ovens, etc. Similarly in industrial applications also it has several applications, industrial applications, and it is used in that also. So here some configurations of bimetallic thermometers are shown. So see, as we saw, the thermometer in the form of bimetallic strip, but here it is, instead of a simple strip, a spiral strip is used, and upon changing its temperature, as two dissimilar metals are there, their coefficient of expansion is different, and there it is a change in shape of this metallic spiral strip according to change in temperature, and that corresponding temperature is shown on the scale. So this is one form of or configuration of bimetallic thermometer. Similarly, another configuration is helical type, so in which the shape of strip is in a helical form, and again same, when the temperature is changed due to dissimilar metals and different coefficient of expansion, it twists, and that twist is actually connected to the scale and pointer arrangement, and which shows a variation on the temperature scale corresponding to change in temperature. So advantages of bimetallic thermometer, see it is a simple and robust. Second, accuracy of this kind of thermometer between plus or minus 2 to 5%. Then they can withstand 50% over in temperature range and can be used where mercury thermometers are used. So we can replace mercury thermometer by this. It also gives a reliable reading. But it has some limitations. See, it is not recommended above 40 degrees Celsius temperature because of accuracy decreases. And when used regularly, the strip may deform permanently and that may again create inaccuracy in measuring system. So these are limitations of these bimetallic thermometers. Okay, thank you very much.